What's up, everybody? This is James from Response on Play, and I'm here with one of our top 4 finishers,
Gavin K.
Gavin, what'd you play?
I played Porco Galliard on the fire symbol.
Okay. You played that deck before, right?
Yeah, I played it at the last David Toombs webcam event.
Okay. How'd you do there?
I got first place.
All right. There you go. Okay. So pretty consistently good deck then, it seems like.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's actually, so I saw that list and I was kind of scrambling for a deck to pick up for this event, and I was like, you know what, I'll just copy this and run it.
Yeah.
I spoke to you a little bit about it before, and you actually made some changes to the deck, right? What were some notable changes that you made there?
Yeah, the big ones I remember is that Blue Flame Torment came out. It was kind of like sad to see the one entire low in the deck go so that you could never trigger the Mighty Blitz, like make them spend 2 momentum. That never ended up coming up. It was like cute at the webcam tournament, but I was like, I'd rather just have something lower difficulty was the big thing. And I found Desperate Slash on Andrew Holder. Shout out to his deck profile. We didn't talk or anything. I just saw it on UVS Ultra. Like, it's 4 diff, so you just like never risk checking a 3 when it's your opener. It's a high block, and the deck needed high blocks. It mills 3 cards. I really don't know why I wasn't playing it before, to be honest. So
yeah, that's
the biggest one. I had 1 copy of Ignite in the webcam. I cut that, and then I'm playing a full playset of Zeros that are 1-man Inferno.
Okay.
A super good card, just being like, instead of mill 3 every enhanced step, it's mill 4. Sometimes you can mess with your opponent's top deck whenever they look with Rodon, or top of discard whenever they want to remove like a supersonic flight. You're just like, okay, well, I'll just leave it up to chance. Maybe you'll mill something different. Kind of like the Jaegerist followers, they're going to look at the top of their deck. Maybe they want to draw it if they're Zeke, stuff like that. And then like the big thing from the webcam was that I really nearly lost to Byakko.
Okay.
But then being able to stack a jury, and then I just knock it off the top of the deck seemed super valuable. And it's just a 0 diff, like to be able to do all that. So those are the biggest changes. There might have been some other small. Another one. Latent skill. I only had 1 of it, and I knocked it down to 0 in the like interim between my last deck profile, and I was like, I don't like dealing with the randomness. But here I was just like, I really want to be able to start with 3 attacks when I need to, and then hopefully draw the 4th attack. Like, I don't want to just take a build turn. And then that's what ended up getting me out of top 4, was not drawing nearly enough attacks and taking the build turn. But there was probably a point where the latent skill saved me in a previous turn, because I was able to draw more attacks, and plus getting the like loss of consciousnesses and I'm with yous and all that stuff out of your hand and triggering even more effects is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the being able to discard the mill cards from your hand to get those effects is
for sure
pretty awesome. You had a pretty good run through Swiss. You said 6-1-1, right?
Yeah, 6-1-1. I think it was round 2. I played against a good friend, James Looters. He'll appreciate the leaders. That's how you say it. You'll appreciate the shout out, because we've played for like 2 years now, something like that. And he was my 1 loss. Super close game. Like, I whiff an attack turn, he whiffs an attack turn, and then my next turn, I just can't do it all. Super good game. And then, starting first round was against Steph.
Oh,
yeah? Yeah. And she was like, oh, actually, my boyfriend is on your list. And I was like, what are the odds? Like, that's crazy. And then you and I play, it was like round 5 or 6 or something like that, I think.
I think it was 4 maybe.
Okay.
I think it was 4.
Play around 4. I get the die roll, and that's really
that's
it.
All
that's
all that matters.
And then pretty relatively normal run until the last round where we ID, and then go into top cuts.
Yeah. How was your top cuts match?
Top cut. So I had a lower seed. I was like the second. I was either the last or the second to last placing X11. So I was like teetering on the edge of top seed, and then whenever the pairings finally got finalized, I was 9th. So I was upset that I had to go, against a pony, and I thought I was just going to lose that. I was like, my only hope is that I draw gas and I'm able to do the turn 2 kill, because I can do that, whereas pony has to struggle and maybe do it on turn 3. Game 1, I whiffed. I'll be honest, I just misplayed. But then game 2 and game 3, I pulled it through. We drug it all the way to like an hour and 10 minutes, and it was 2 aggro decks, so we were playing chess.
Yeah, for sure.
Then I played against in top 8. Hanji won. Again, he was higher seed. I think he was Swiss champ too. Really back and forth. My deck in Top Cut was like telling me like you won't draw the gas turn 2, and so we had to go back and forth way more than I ever had to in Swiss, and just barely eked out the win game 3 because the Hanji just drew I think it was like 5 attacks and an action or a backup or something like that. Like
okay.
Just and Hanji wants to really like spend the time building and whatnot,
right.
but she wasn't really able to. So I got that, and then top 4. I'll be honest, my opponent's deck was really good, but again, that was like the worst like luck the deck has ever had, where I'm just like, okay, he built 5. I can kill him if I draw gas. I don't draw gas, but I still build 5, and I'm like, all right, well, I can kill him next turn if I draw gas, and I don't draw gas again, and I'm like,
yeah.
Against a lot of matchups, that's fine, but the Zeke, it's Zeke 2, the War Captain,
the War Chief.
That deck, if you're both messing around, he's just gonna find something to kill you, and that happened. It was a Swift 2-0, like. But yeah, it wasn't a bad experience. I think my opponent's deck was just also really great. 9 Titans, it's just like such a crazy card.
Yeah, for sure.
Just being like, you have so much inevitability. Like if I don't have the barrier shield, there's a pretty hard cap on how long the game can go. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of. So like previously, before this event, I guess before 9 Titans really.
Yeah.
You know, backups were kind of not super relevant, and now they kind of seem to be everywhere for this event. Is there something like a specific idea that you have for fighting these decks? Is it just kill them quickly before they set up? Like, what's your idea for defeating these backups?
So with the Porco strategy, it's like you have a bad matchup into every deck if you go like turn 4 and beyond. It's really hard, except for maybe like Rodon that doesn't try to kill you. Mm-hmm. So it's like everybody's always like, well, I've got all these tools to prep against Porco, and it's like, well, did you see all of them on turn 2, or am I able to kill you?
Yeah.
So like against Hanji, it's like throw as much as you can out as quick as possible, because eventually all of those buttons that say minus something for each backup in the stage are going to say twice as much or 3 times as much as they would on turn 2.
Yeah.
A huge one in that matchup is, in a lot of matchups too, is the Forecheck Foundation. I'm blanking out on the name. The one that pops for stun.
Oh, Frightening Calm?
Frightening Calm.
Yeah.
That one is massive, and like that's another huge reason I lost because I did have 1 kill turn against the Zeke War Chief, but I sided them all out because game 1 he built 1 foundation, game 2 he built 8, and so I just had no way to interact with his board. That card in like to the backup decks is huge, because whenever you're able to stun on every enhanced step, or if it's a late game, maybe twice if you see 2, something like that, or even like open up with an armbar and say, sure, you've got 3 foundations for the rest of the turn. Again, with like loss of consciousness also sealing them, like that's the biggest strategy. It's just like try not to go into the late game against Hanji.
That's fair. Yeah, I appreciate your time. Is there anything about this event, not specifically like the tournament itself, but like anything at all that like if you wave a magic wand, you could change about the event?
I don't know, actually. This was probably one of the best events that I've been to, like where there really wasn't anything that I would say, even really about the format too. I think my deck is doing something unfair, so I can't really like cast judgment on anything else, like, oh, we need to ban 9 Titans, but I have teaming in my deck, and that's just a great card. I think the format's in a really cool spot. We did have a lot of backup representation at this event, so I know, like I said, a lot of people are looking at 9 Titans, but I think just letting the meta cook for a little bit longer and seeing what they do, because like, was there a peak in Top Cut, or?
I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check.
I still was expecting there to be like 3 or 4 peaks in Top Cut, and I think they can do it, and maybe this was just a backup weekend. Those decks really don't like to play into Violent Anima Shot.
Right.
But then we didn't see any Rodons in the Top Cut, so maybe the deck is just good enough, or maybe this was just a good weekend for it. So I like the format where it is. Yeah, this is a good event.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope to see you again and doing well.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? It's Brian with Response on Play here for a top 4 interview. Today I am joined by...
Maxwell Pipkin of the Bubble Butt Bottom Boys.
That is, in fact, the name of the team.
Yep.
So, Maxwell, will you tell me who you were playing today?
I was playing Zeke 1 on the life symbol.
Okay. Got some backups going on. I know that backups weren't on my radar. They probably should have been on my radar, apparently, based on top cuts and everything else that's been going on. What got you onto this deck, or was it just...
Okay. So, backups were a little on my radar. I expected way more peaks and Rodons, though. That's what my deck's really good into, but, that's fine. So, my buddy, Aiden LeColler from Indiana, we're both Indiana locals, he shows me this Zeke 1 deck. It's 80 cards. It's just a pile of random cards. And I was like, hold on, let me cook. I cut it down to a slim 60. And then we both ran almost the same list. Just a few differences in number of backups.
Yeah.
He's on 62 cards. The sideboards are almost identical. He copied my sideboard on Friday. Yep. Right before the tournament.
Yeah, last minute.
Yep. So I found out that this character absolutely stomps Rodon and Peak, which I thought were going to be the most popular characters.
Sure.
Peak I was expecting at least 25 of. There was 10.
That sounds about right.
I think there was 25 Rodons, but it is a good matchup. I almost lost to one, though.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously you had a great run. You got a really cool top 4 card. What matches stood out to you in Swiss or in Top Cuts?
Cool. So one of the matches that really stood out to me was I played Mitchell Chimino in top 8.
The person or the character?
The person. Mitchell Chimino on deck of 6. I think it was Air deck of 6, because he was running
6.
Goblin Bolt.
Okay.
And I ended up winning it. He won game 1. Considered dropping the tournament to go play teams. Did not do that. Maybe should have. Teams is so much fun.
Teams is fun. Teams is a fun event.
But I ended up killing him by simply disrespecting him on game 3. I drew my hand. I saw 5 backups. I built 5. I built 0 foundations. Who needs them, right? Drew, transformed, because in game 1 he was really attacking my backups, putting pressure on them. So if I just transform before that, then it's fine. I ended up killing him with about 9 backups in my stage and 4 foundations. I end up usually ending up with more backups than foundations in my stage, unless I'm looping, and then I'm just destroying them all myself. Other matches, I faced a Zeke 2 in round 7. That was one of the 2 games I played that I didn't. I went first. I lost 7 die rolls this weekend. It was rough. Zeke is a deck that definitely wants to go first, so you can transform before your backups get killed. But
makes sense.
It was a Zeke 2. He was a kid from England, 15 years old, I believe. It was very close. I ended up switching into Hanji, which I can talk about my sideboard later. It really saved me a few of those games. But the Hanji didn't work, so I just won game 1. Since I went first, I could win with Zeke. And then game 3, I went first, so I won with Zeke. Other rounds, I faced the Boimler. He was playing Godzilla. He just couldn't draw attacks game 1, so I murdered him. Both of the games, though, I played around Cape beautifully. Game 1, he used it on my Falling Titans, and I threw 3 political strifes for 13 damage each. That is definitely the MVP of this event. Political strife is just so good. And then the next game, he used it on a political strife, and I Falling Titans them to death. Those are the main rounds that I had that stood out, though.
Yeah, makes sense. I'll note that you didn't name the 2 rounds in which you beat the brakes off of my teammates. I don't blame you. So, obviously, You had to come back and play the 8th round, or maybe you were able to do a bye.
Oh, no.
So
No
you
way.
had to play in?
Yep,
So,
6-1-1.
Yeah, so...
Or 5-1-1, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously you had a really hectic beginning of the morning for here today. You were talking about changing into Hanj as part of your sideboard strat. Was that just the idea of certain matchups, it's easier to just protect the one backup that matters, or?
So originally, the idea with Hanj is that my backups count as a foundation, so I have more defense, which I did use in the matches I had against Porco specifically, because I also get a side in a bunch of other cards, and they let me just live, and Hanji is a 6-hander instead of a 5, so I can find these foundations on turn 1, live against those Porco decks, and then it also works for Pony. I didn't run into any ponies. I was ready for it, though.
Fair. Makes sense. So then, overall, how has the event been for you? Just the whole weekend so far?
Yep. So we drove in on Thursday, stayed across the river in Indiana, and then on Friday I played in a bunch of side events. Started with Street Fighter Sealed, Spotlight Sealed. That format was not as much fun as I was hoping it would be. The decks are a little unbalanced for it. Every attack is a 4-speed attack, it seems. So Luke is giving -2 or +2 damage to everything, and that's really annoying when you don't have real attacks. And then I started with M. Bison in that, and I switched to Jamie. M. Bison was fun. He didn't do much, though. After that, I dropped 1-1 to go play in a Rochester Retro. I played my favorite retro deck, Mature 2, playing as many Coffee Sambas as I can. I believe I had one really notable game. I fought Chris Smith on my round 2. I lost. I had so much fun doing it. I checked 7 ones within those 3 games. Game 2 and 3, he sided in 2 bangs. I got sealed on my attacking turn on game 2, and on game 3, he killed me with the bang. He got the response off.
He even got the bang kill.
Yep.
Well,
Hey.
Sounds like the event's been very exciting and fruitful for you.
Yep.
If there was anything that you could change about this event, the weather, the venue, the drive, it can be, or even the event itself. It doesn't have to be, like, it can be anything you want. What would you change?
So, the fire alarm went off during during round 7 of Swiss. That was not great. I did notice there was some time that was, I believe, missed on the clock from when that happened. But that was out of UVS Games' control.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
all. That's all good. I don't know what happened. There was a bunch of. The venue has been a little shaky. I did not stay here, but I have heard stories about other groups that are in the same venue for basketball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, whatever is going on. There's been some things I've heard in Discords mostly. But overall, there's a few cards I would change in my main board that I never really liked. The Frantic Plea in my main board never really came in. The Tattered Costume never really saved me. I feel like I would rather have more of the Driven by Retribution. Card is actually insane. Not a fair card to be played. I got finalists, top 8, top 4 right here. But yeah, overall, I believe I had a good weekend. There's a few things I would change, but overall, it's very solid.
That's good. Well, as always, guys, we were Responsive on Play. Maxwell, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, and congratulations.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian with Responsive on Play, back with another Top 4 interview. Joining me today is...
I'm Cayden Gilvin.
Happy to have you here with us, Cayden. So, I understand we had a tragic loss right there at the end.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you were playing today, though?
I played Zeke, 2, Beast Titan 3. I don't really know
The War Chief.
Yeah, the War Chief, the good one.
Yeah, the new.
No, actually,
the
there
new
was
one.
people that played him very well. The other one very well today.
Yeah, for sure. I know that, like I said in my other interview, that backups were not on my radar at all. What put Zeke on your radar? Was it something you decided now, or when you saw him?
No, when we seen the spoilers, I committed to Zeke. Like I started playtesting with him at least. I knew he was going to be one of the decks that I was playtesting with. I just really enjoy the mechanics of manipulating checks.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense. And obviously, turns out that he's pretty good now that we've gotten some good backups to support his play style. Obviously, I guess was when he came out too, so it makes sense that he gets a couple of the good ones. So, with that, what were some of the notable matches of your 2 days?
Well, I had to play the winner in the Swiss and in the finals, and he got me both times. I think I played against the Rodan that had like all the Animus shots, and that I mean I had to play differently than I normally do.
For
I
sure.
had to speed up the game a little bit so that he wasn't getting so much value out of that. And I think that's what made my version of the Zeke good in other matches, was just I was a little more aggressive.
Sure, that makes sense. I was gonna say, I know, obviously this was a very long event, since this was the biggest event in the U.S. so far. Was there any deck that you played against that you thought was really cool?
I played against that other Zeke.
Just the other Zeke?
The other Zeke, and I really liked it. I've never even like really read that guy. So playing against him, I had to read him and kind of figure out what he was about to do, and I liked him. He drew a lot of cards. It seemed like maybe he runs out of gas, but
Fair. So, obviously, we had a really good run. I understand we had a tragic misplay that possibly cost you it all. Obviously, I didn't get to watch it. Unfortunately, I was out here pretending to work.
yeah, I missed the Blitz trigger on my Beast Titan attacks to make it a throw, and I don't know, it was probably near 20 damage. And once I missed that trigger, I just tilted myself. And then I build it in after the shift, and I protect it all on his turn, and then when it comes back to my turn, I don't even use the form because I'm so tilted. And then that tilted me more, and it just spiraled. It got out of control, and I couldn't rein myself back in.
I get it. I mean, emotions were high. It was important turns.
For sure.
I get it. So, unrelated to the event, or could be related to the event, if you could change anything about this whole weekend that you've been here for, is there anything that you would change? It could be as simple as the weather. It could be as crazy as anything.
No, yeah, you hit it on the nail. That humidity is crazy out there. I'm not with it. I'm from Texas, and the heat's dry, and this is like sticky.
I am also currently from Texas, and I am also used to the drier heat.
Yeah, it's aggravating. It was lots of wiping my face and stuff throughout this trip, but the event was ran very well. Even when they had the little fire alarm mishap, they handled it real well.
For sure.
Prizing was great. Promos were great. A big turnout.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Sure.
They upped the capacity,
Yeah.
and I was one of the people that was going to be left out, actually, so I didn't make the cap too much in advance, so, I mean, I wouldn't even be here if they didn't,
Yeah,
so
if they hadn't increased.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, this obviously they've been trying to make everyone better, and I think this one was better than the last one, which was better than the one before it. So, well, I really appreciate you talking with us. Be sure to talk about it, like us, all those things. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
What's up, everybody? We're back again, this time with our Louisville regional champion.
Kalvin H. Everyone knows me as Wub, so it's just Wub. Yeah.
Well, Wub, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
What deck did you play for this win?
I played Zeke Yeager War Chief, the new one from Apocalypse.
Okay. What's the idea for this deck? What's what's the game plan?
So I originally built it around. I knew Unyielding Destruction was an extremely strong card, and I wanted to play something that could like play a small attack, buff its check, play a big attack, and then it sort of transitioned into like, I'm just going to sit here for a really long time and eventually play a lot of Falling Titans at you,
Okay.
because Zeke gains so much life if you get a lot of incremental value. Like, it ends up, like surviving extra unblocked attacks after 8 or 9 forms. So
Gotcha.
I tried him in Albuquerque at like the teams event, and it went really well there. And then I sort of shelved him for a while because some of my friends were playing it and were like, they didn't really get the deck or didn't like how it played. And then I couldn't figure out what to play for this regional. And a week or two ago, I was just like, why did I drop Zeke again? Like, I like that deck a lot. And I mean, it panned out, obviously. Like, it just performed extremely well. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Was there any particular matchups that you were worried about, or things you had tech for that you kind of couldn't just win on face?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of early aggression. Particularly, Porco was on our radar as something that was very scary. But I actually didn't encounter one in the tournament, which I just don't think there were that many. It seemed like the more 7-hand aggro character. No, there were decent. I don't remember the pie chart. I'm sorry.
I think no, you're good. I think it's about 5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I originally had Fortitude of the Armored Titan in my sideboard for it, and decided that Kaya's Compassion was actually probably better against the field because it lets me block more. Fortitude sits in the card pool. And I was worried about my Zeke matchup as a result because my Porco matchup because they're all playing Forcing Surrender.
Right.
And that's like really bad for Kaya's. But I ended up playing against, Cayden on Zeke and everything, and it didn't come up. But Kaya's is fantastic against that deck because I can eat his check on the front side. I can say, yes, that check is a 9, but you must play a foundation or a backup or something.
Right. Okay. What about Swiss? So what was your Swiss record?
My Swiss record was X-1. I got 2-0'd by a Hanj 1, which I think that deck is probably one of the scariest turn 2 decks in retrospect, much more so than Porco, honestly, just because Titan Pile gets so big so quickly, and then also their remaining Harness Undeath in a backup mirror, which, as you saw, I touched Cayden and he went to 1 life from full. So that was very scary. I checked some 3s, tapped my character, and took... It probably was about 50 to 55 damage, given he still had a harness to play.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So that was my loss. The other ones, a lot of grindy, close games. My game versus Kevin Broberg in Swiss, he got me to 1 life, and we identified that if he had not flipped a Botans like a form or 2 ago, he would have been able to do it exact because of a greater goal trigger.
Okay.
But like at the time, we didn't realize. It was sort of like we're playing face up because we're in overtime. And then I was second player, so I got to go and kill him from there.
Okay.
But there were a lot of very, very close games. And top 16 was very grindy too. I mean, this deck wants to sit there and play the game with you. It wants to take its time. So as a result, your opponent's deck almost always gets to do its thing, which is sort of, aggro sort of circumvents that by being extremely aggressive and just kind of getting in there before you get to play. But
Right.
Zeke will let you play. However, he's going to outvalue you in the long game. That's like the whole idea of it.
Yeah, that was we talked to Gavin earlier, and he was like, that was kind of the biggest thing that he had on Porco was, after turn 3, he kind of doesn't really get to play into those longer style decks very well. So what about this event, if anything, you wave your hand and kind of make a change? Is there anything that kind of stood out that you'd like to change about this event?
In terms of deck list, it was really interesting seeing some other Zekes because I think we hadn't really worked together at all. I know Barlow Guest was going to enter with my Zeke list or something similar and changed to Hanj at the last minute, and he did very well. But then playing against Cayden, who had like a totally different take on the deck. He was way more aggressive. I think 33 backups and 60 or something. I'm on 18 and 70.
Oh, wow.
The style of deck is a lot different. He's a lot closer to like the no foundation mimics and stuff.
Right.
But he did, you do have to run foundations. It's not the same as mimic. And I noticed a few things in his deck that were really, really good. I didn't have a target for female Titan to pick up, and he was running Knockdown Blow, and that had been on my radar, and I decided not to use it. And as soon as he put it on the table, I'm like, man, this is really good. I should have been testing this card again.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make a big change to my attack lineup on like Friday before the tournament, and that was kind of when I was thinking about it. Armored Titan Rush also looked incredible. You can't 9 Titans it, so you can't reduce it, and at least my deck has a very difficult time blocking it. I actually kept in all my unyielding destructions because they block Armored Titan Rush.
Gotcha.
2 mid that can block when he blitzes and says it must be blocked by an attack. I was just siding out low low blocks because I knew his list didn't have harness on death, and I was just on mids and highs.
Yeah.
For the as much as I could be for the block zones while keeping my deck, functional. But definitely some of the attacks explore a little bit. I was very happy with my list for this event, though. I feel like it performed very well. It's a very tricky to build character. I'm sure a lot of people will go off this list and find things, but it did great. It felt amazing. The whole
Awesome.
time.
Is there anything that you're looking at with some of the spoils for the new set? Any new characters that are kind of peeking?
I think Bishop is really cool. I kind of want to see all of her tools and everything. The four-hander is hilarious and looks like it'll be a lot of fun to deck build. We'll kind of see, once the full set is revealed, it's a lot easier to know.
For sure.
But I know my friend Ryan Levine is ecstatic because Hawk's got a singular attack that makes his feathers 4/4, and he's
Yes.
like,
We've
he's
seen
so
some
pumped
stuff
about
about
that card. Rightfully so, because the last 3 sets haven't had anything from, or all the Attack on Titan stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'd say it's probably just Bishop. I think
fair. Cool.
that is a banned retro character,
Right. That's fair.
Can't be bad.
Any shout outs that you want to make before we finish up here?
Definitely my whole playtest group and my team, my locals, Gaming Giant, you guys are awesome. I'd say that
Awesome.
that's pretty much it.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time. Again, congratulations on the win. Hope to see you again. Thank you.